All right, time to check in with your boy Joe Pendleton, the boxer. But this week is dedicated to me learning my lines or trying to learn my lines. And if you can look, you can see here, I got a whole lot of them. I think I have one break of 3 pages where I'm not on, and that's the only time I have a breakthrough here. So I've got to get to work and learn all these things. I've been trying to learn my lines before at this point, but we're just getting our blocking. And you don't really want to learn your lines before you get your blocking, because your blocking will carry you through your lines, and your lines will carry you through your blocking. They'll assist each other on the learning all of these lines. So now the last few rehearsals I've got my blocking down almost completely. So now it's time for me to get my lines down, and once I get my lines down and my blocking down, then I can start acting. So this is one frustrating point where I get really, frustrated with my place. I'm ready to move on to being off book and being walk around so I can start playing again. This week right here is just the hardest week. So Friday I have to have all Act 1 done, but I want to have Act 1 and Act 2 done by Friday. So that's what's going on. Another thing, the main thing, I got a note last night about my language. This was placed in the 1933, so it's a period piece. So people talk different in the 30s than they do now. However, the problem that I'm having, because that was my initial problem when I first got this role. I remember I had a dinner party and I was telling people I'm worried about the dialect of the people back in 33, because before I even looked at the fighters, I looked at African Americans in 1933 and trying to hear some kind of dialect, some kind of different dialect, and I really couldn't get one. And they were like, every time you look up, if you look up dialects, American dialects or Jersey accents and New York accents, when it comes to African Americans, it's called something like African American Vernacular English, and it diverts you to that, and it makes mainly puts all the African American dialect in one bucket, but then has slang from different areas and things of that sort. So it's really frustrating, because I don't want to. The boxer's from Jersey, but I don't want to get up there and do a fake Tony Soprano Jersey accent, because when's the last time you seen a black person talk like that? It's just out of place. I don't want to do that. That'll take somebody out of the character. So what I'm focusing on is not being sloppy like I have been the last few rehearsals. I told one of my partners when we come on, I said, man, I'm being sloppy with my words. But I don't want to be sloppy with them, and I don't want to say it too modern, say words too modern. I want to stay as strict to the script as possible, and then if I get that, I might throw some Jersey dialect in it here and there just to play. But I'm a real believer in trying to get to the real of a dialect, because a lot of times when we do period pieces, we think about other actors that had played roles back in the 30s, and we act like those actors instead of acting like people back in the 30s. It's the same thing with Shakespeare. That's why I get so frustrated with people, because a lot of times when they do Shakespeare, they do it in the Shakespearean, is this a dagger I see before me? Hang toward my hand, come, let me clutch thee, I have thee not. And try to put a lot of emotion to that sing-songy Shakespeare and think that's good acting. But when you saw, like, for instance, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, they spoke like regular people speak, and they got the point across to the audience, because that's number one, getting your point across to the audience. But then once you get your point across to the audience, they also hit the verse and all of that stuff to make it sound good. So you could understand what they were saying, and they had the rhythm down. It didn't have to be tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this bed. And people think that's period. People think that's that's the way Shakespeare is supposed to be done. And I have to shake it out of some people, like, no, these are the lines, say the lines and get the meaning across, and then put your accent and stuff to it, but get the meaning across first. Otherwise, you're just and you're not really acting. You're not. You're just singing and performing or whatever you call. So I don't want to get to that point. I want to make sure that I get my point across to the audience, stay as precise as possible to the text that's in here, and then when I get that down, then add little things here and there, not to distract and not to put too much, just to keep it right into my character, just to put a little finishing touch on them. So that's where I'm going. So I'm going in there. I'm going to try to learn my lines and try to get things down. My next video, I've already figured it out. I'm going to take you through a day of training with Joe Pendleton. What I do every day. I get 3 hours in the gym in the morning, come back home, and I do at least an hour or 2 hours on script. Then I drive 1 hour to rehearsal, and then I'm at rehearsal 2 hours, and I drive back. So I'm giving, how many is that? 9, 8, 9, at least 9 hours a day to this thing. So people who thought that I could still do Dallas Cowboy Show and whatever, get it out your mind. Get it out your mind. This is just time consuming. All right, I'll talk to you later. Peace out. Bam! See, you didn't know.